About 3 minutes past the top of the hour. We have a good conversation for you tonight. Don't go to sleep. And I know most of the people who are watching tonight are parents. You'd like to know, these are the baby boomers, right? Your parents are baby boomers, right?
No, Gen X. No. Gen X.
X. Okay. The Generation X, baby boomers like my parents. So tonight, a lot of people are watching because you really want to know what's going on. And I have young people in studio today. They have been described as very bold, fearless, assertive, sometimes opinionated, but very expressive. And we saw that yesterday. I've been speaking to them offline, and they tell me tomorrow, even more young people are coming out to protest what they believe is their right. Now tonight, I'm speaking to a number of them. We have Veronica and Veronica. I'll not give their titles. I think it's just, let's just say they're young people. And Veronica, Annette Baraza, Nosib Natasha, Kennedy Kabugi, and Njeri Gikonyi. We're also having Raymond Mude that'll be joining us in this conversation. A lot to talk about tonight. Unfortunately, we will not have history, we will not take you back in history with the headline that formed your head more than 14 years ago today, but we just go straight to our conversation because we have a lot to talk about. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the discussion. I'd like to begin talking to Annette Barasa, if she is ready now, because Annette took the internet by storm. Annette have just understood she's very young. Among everyone who's here tonight, she's very young. And one of the things that Annette said, she told Baba to stay at home because it's their time to represent. Annette, where do you get that energy from?
My dad, I guess. Because like growing up, he was such an actor.
All right, that's Annette, but her sound is not okay. So I'm going to go back to her, but at least you've seen them. Let me come back on the table, on the round table, and begin again with Natasha. Natasha, tomorrow, let's just get over and done with tomorrow. Tomorrow is also a big day for the young people. And from what you've been telling me offline, you still plan to go to the streets.
Yes.
Why? We are debating the bill and the amendments. There are concessions that have been made by the government, right? And obviously, the members of parliament are voting next week. Why have you decided, again, tomorrow is another day for you to take to the street?
Because as you can see, the protest is doing something, you know. It was supposed to be passed with a delay. So meaning, these people know that this is pressure they're getting. So the more we do it, the better they'll act. Hence why we are pulling up tomorrow. Same time, same place, guys.
The more
in colorful dressing.
In colorful dressing.
The more, what did you say? The more you do it?
The more pressure they get to
You
do
know,
what
I'm
is
glad
right.
they can even understand your language. I'm not so old. You're about 15 years younger than my generation. Is that too much?
Not really.
No, not really.
Yeah.
So someone has just sent me a text saying that the protesters are Gen Z, their lawyers are millennials.
Yeah.
Their parents are Gen
X.
Gen X,
X.
Yes.
right?
Yes.
You guys are interesting. So tomorrow you're still pulling up.
Yeah, we are. Ken, you had earlier stated that the president said that however much you protest, the institutions are the ones that
Makes the
represent us.
decisions at the end of the day.
At the same time, we are the ones that, the people of Kenya are the ones that elected the institutions. If the people of Kenya have decided to go on this line and the institutions are not on the same line with the people of Kenya, I feel like the president should now recognize that the people of Kenya should represent the institutions. So let us go
You're
represent
taking back
the
your rights
institutions.
under Article 1 of the Constitution.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let us
The power
represent
belongs to the people.
To the people.
Yeah.
Let us represent the institutions tomorrow. Let us do it next week, Tuesday, next week, Thursday. Let's keep changing the dress code. Ikifika mahali tuende hata bila mavazi ikibidi, we'll go there.
You know, practically what you're saying is true, because I'm sometimes on Twitter,
Yes.
on TikTok, and what the young people do, this for you people is a very serious matter. To an extent that you're telling me tonight that you're not doing your normal skits because of this.
Yeah.
How much encouragement do you get from your generation when you take to the street?
In a good way, we get enough with things like the TikTok live stance that you've said. But the major reason that I'm not doing my content is because the major consumers of my content are not interested in it right now. Most of them are interested in what's happening with the finance bill, which is a very big move that has never happened with our generation. Yeah, most of them are not interested with, hey, Kabugi, today you're funny, today you're running now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll come to Jabali. Same thing tomorrow, because I need to get on the way. A lot of questions that came to me when I said I'll be holding you to account tonight. Is if you people understand, I'll go to that. But tomorrow you're still coming up. You're turning up. That is why.
Yes, we're still turning up. And tomorrow, actually, carry your Bluetooth speakers if you can. Come
what do you
to
mean,
the streets.
Bluetooth speakers?
We must be heard. We must be seen.
So how are you going to be heard using
we
Bluetooth?
Have to be audible as we have to be audible as we can. So the Bluetooth speakers will attract more attention, and they'll bring more attention to the streets.
Okay.
We already saw whatever we did on Tuesday. It actually somehow helped, and they actually revised it, and some things were actually checked upon. But we want more.
You believe the government is listening to their children?
We believe it's actually doing something, and we believe it's actually sending a message, and someone is actually seeing it. As much as they're saying they're ignoring it, I believe they are actually seeing it, and they can actually feel whatever is happening.
The interesting thing is that we have never seen this crop, this breed of young people come to the streets. Tomorrow you're also going back to the street, and you're carrying Bluetooth speakers?
I do not have a Bluetooth speaker.
But you'll be depending on his.
I'm going to have to rely on someone who has one. Yes.
But you're going to the street?
Yes.
I'd like to ask the reason why, if you really understand what the finance bill, I'm not in any way trying to say you don't. I don't want to take the heat. I don't want my number to be shared online. So I'm not just saying that you don't understand. But let me talk to Annette Barasa. Annette, if you can hear me now, you are trending because you addressed your grandfather, Raila Odinga, who, by the way, posted and said that they are very happy about what you're talking about.
Yeah.
What is the drive? What motivates you at your young age? I will not say your age.
Don't say my age. Okay, anyways, I'm very motivated to fight for the youth because I have the voice. I can talk, I can express myself, I have the knowledge, I'm intelligent, and I can be outspoken, so like, why not? And also, so much of this financial bill, the proposed one, so much of it is just like not for the people, and the government is meant for the people. So I don't understand why people are not enriched by this, especially the ones who are older than us. Guys, amekata kusema my age, but I'm 17. So I'm out here defending you guys. You get, I'm gonna go to my mom's house, but you guys are going to your houses that you're paying rent, utanunua chakula, fight for your rights, okay? But peacefully, yeah.
So, Annette, can you tell us exactly, because people can't relate, the voice you used yesterday, can you say exactly what you said yesterday in that clip?
I said a lot of things yesterday.
No, I want the
exactly?
part. I want the part that touched on Raila Odinga.
Baba, stay indoors. We will fight for you. Sisi ndo tuko sasa. We have seen your efforts, and now we will fight for you. Yeah.
You called him Agwambo.
Agwambo. Yeah.
Eh?
Yeah.
You know where he got the name Agwambo?
No. Can you please
Obviously.
inform me?
Eh?
Yeah, educate me on that. I haven't heard about
what did your parents say when you told them you're going to be on TV tonight?
Well, okay, my dad was very proud. He was about to, oh my God, my dad was so happy. My mom is like, Anita, make sure you're safe. Mom, I'm safe and I'm on TV. Yeah.
Okay, and Veronica, I haven't spoken to you, but I guess you can now give us your perspective. You work in the newsroom, and you're among the young people that I work with in this newsroom. And I have to admit, you're very assertive and you're outspoken. There's also that boldness and assertiveness that comes with it. If you see what your generation is doing on the streets, do you think, or did you ever contemplate that it will get to a point that your generation will be on the street fighting for the whole community of Kenya?
Well, Ken, to be honest, I dreamt of it. And thank you, my people. You brought this to reality. Like, wow, what really has to happen?
Again, Ann Sound, we can't get Ann Sound, but Ann, I'm coming back to you. I guess they're working on it. We have so many guests tonight. That's the reason why. We're also looking for Raymond Mude. As soon as he's ready, we'll be coming back to him. But Ann, preserve that question. Let me come back to you guys. Let me call you guys, right? I want you to identify, each of you, the areas of contention. Let me begin with Natasha. what are the areas of contention that you are expressing yourself about?
I will start with the eco levy.
Okay.
That part is above ridiculous, above and beyond. Like, make it make sense, yeah? Because, okay, yesterday they said, oh, no taxes on pads that are manufactured where? Locally. Okay, so far as we wait for us to manufacture things locally, what are we supposed to do? Wait, clog ourselves so we don't know. Make it make sense. That is among the reasons why I am so pissed at this government, because basically this is to oppress the poor and probably enrich the rich already. Because I also saw one of the, I'm not going to name names because, you know, I don't have the money if I was sued. One of the politicians, a female one, was asked, what do you think about this? She said, no, you know, me, I use tampons. I don't use pads. Make it make sense. How am I supposed to give a 12-year-old, my sister probably, if I had one, yeah? 12 years old, nimpatie tampon? Atatumia aje? A child. Like, make it make sense. And the women who are in power right now, shame on you for real. That is what is angering
That is
right
one.
now.
That,
yes.
that angers you most because you are at that age that this is a necessity, a need.
Yes.
Okay. Kabugi.
Before I get to mine, when I was coming here, I got someone telling me, Kabugi, you're a comedian, you're not a lawyer. If I asked you to name anything in the finance bill, you won't. This goes back to the Gen Z. We need to appreciate that not every Gen Z is a lawyer. Not every Gen Z is learned, but we have our devices on our hands. The moment Ken started asking this question, I took my phone and Googled whatever I wanted to ask. So I don't have to have the whole bill narrated in my head for me to start putting it out there. Now, back to your question. Mine is on the very basic, amenities. We have things like the bread. I had them say they're gonna amend it.
The value-added tax.
Yeah. We have the bank fees. We're headed to a place where we need to start getting mortgages. We need to start getting loans. I'm a content creator. I probably need to start getting a car for me to, you know, get here and there.
Yeah.
And the fees are being raised weirdly, with some very weird numbers. My question is, the president really acts like someone who really wants to listen to us. This goes back to his trips and all that. Can he just sit back with us, listen to what we want? Because you can't go trying to bring back investors to help us, you know, to help us and invest back in our country, and you're still taxing us over it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is for you, Jabali. What are you picking up from the bill?
Personally, from the bill, I saw that there is a place where they say there is confidential budget. There's the confidential budget.
Yes.
So my main problem is what is that confidential budget and why should it be kept away from us? And the amount that was also said, I'm sorry, I don't have the exact amount.
800 million.
800 million shillings was said, yeah? 800 million shillings, where is it going? And that 800 million, if it is brought back, it could actually help us so much, but it is said it is confidential. That means people shouldn't know where it is actually being used. That raises a very big question in the government, considering the bills that they're already trying to pass is already too much oppressing us. And seeing our money go just that way, 800 million, which is a very big sum, it really hurts us. So that is one of the reasons I was so frustrated.
800
million Kenyan shillings, yes.
Plus 200 million makes a billion. I'm not saying where that 200 million is.
To spend secretly.
To spend secretly.
No one declares.
No one declares.
Yes.
No one should ask. It is confidential.
Can be about mandazi and chai. And
Yes.
But do you people know that is how the government operates? This is not the first time they're having a confidential budget.
Yeah.
Because the government needs to run a lot of things, needs to do a lot of things that you should not be told. Yes.
The government that we elected went to the ballot and elected. They need to work secretly on things. And
personally, it feels like it is making a pathway for many of those people to actually put their money in their pockets much easier, because the public won't actually know what's actually happening, because it is termed as confidential.
Confidential.
So confidential
That we shouldn't know.
It is our country.
Yes.
What do you mean? Unless you are assassinating someone, that's mad. That's
The reason why I've said Gen Z comes of age, because you're coming to a realization that there's a lot of things that are happening running the government. Njeri, what are your concerns? What are you pulling from the bill that concerns you?
The finance bill as a whole is an atrocity.
Real.
But
Yes.
what I am pulling from it is the the cancer, the 16% VAT added on cancer. Do you know how many people do harambes? Even when the tax was sub-zero, people do harambes for cancer patients. Now, with the 16% added, you're going to have to do pre-harambes. You know, you do pre-wedding for a wedding. You're going to have to do pre-harambe for a harambe to get enough money. Secondly, before we protested on Tuesday and they scrapped some of them, the motor vehicle tax and the tax on bread. Why? They look very minuscule, okay? They look very minimal, but they will add up. But in addition to that, I am also on the streets lamenting what we've lost. It's not only the finance bill. The finance bill is the straw that broke the camel's back. Okay. We have lost Linda Mama. We have lost Linda Mama. And do you know how much that's going to affect people who are giving birth in suboptimal conditions? We have lost the budget for schools. School meals has been cut. When you're taught to high school, get hungry. Jesus. Yes. What else has been cut? You see, all those small things
add up to the bigger picture.
Add up to a big picture. Yeah. And it's a very horrible
Now
picture.
They anticipate it will be rejected and they have removed 178. I'll be coming back to you. You've just been pointed 111. I'll also be asking you about some if you think they are very contentious. But let me bring Anne Veronica now. Anne, your point, having worked in the newsroom for a while, and these are some of the things that you contribute to in your daily work at the newsroom, your concerns with what's happening and the justification to see young people like you out in the streets.
Well, at some point, Ken, as you had asked earlier, I dreamt of such a moment when my generation, people from my generation, would rise up. And they actually did. It's not like I dreamt and hoping that they would. I knew they would. I just didn't know when it would come, and now it has come. One thing these people, not these people, one thing other people think is that Gen Zs are just people who pressure each other into doing things, people who say things and they end up not doing them. Well, there is this one politician who was saying that this protest will not even come to life, but to his surprise, they did that. And they actually they moved people, they moved masses, they moved the government too, to the point that they even had to do a press release. Something else that I'd like to acknowledge is that Gen Z, in as much as there is peer pressure, but when it comes to things concerning us, we don't get pressured by peer people, by our peers. We do what we want. And currently, what every Gen Z wants to do is to stand up for their rights. Not only their rights, we have parents. We can see how much they're struggling. We have our sisters, our elder brothers. And soon, we are going to be in their space. We don't want to grow up and come back and struggle like they are struggling already. So we have to create an environment where in future, our kids and us are going to have a peaceful moment living in this country. And you know, we are people who have grown up knowing that mkate ni 15 shillings, mkate nusu ni 15 shillings, and right now mkate ni 65 shillings. It's okay because the economy is also adjusting and times are changing, but that does not mean that the government should renovate a house that was constructed using 400 million shillings. They should not renovate it using 600 billion shillings. That's a lot of money.
Like building a new house.
Yeah, it's like building a new house. You just build a new house.
Okay. But what was the point of realization? And because I want to ask this question, you guys, allow me to use the word guys, we don't use it on TV, right? You guys, what was the point of the realization? And I also want to understand, you're not giving government intelligence, but how do you mobilize? Who is your commander? Where is the commanding base? So Anne, at what point did you realize that it's time as a generation to take over what is happening in my country?
Well, I came here and I have been reporting, because I've been doing what's trending for this station for a while. I have been reporting on the taxes and how the netizens are taking these matters of taxes. And we can also talk about fuel prices. We have been talking about anytime these fuel prices are increased or decreased, we come here and talk about it because it becomes a trending topic. And that point of realization is when I realized that many Gen Zs are actually standing up to their rights. They are actually reading and taking note of these political movements that are going on. They are now being politically engaged. And as I had said, I was very involved I was very much into the digital space, and I could see who is commenting. I could see people who used to just chill, post aesthetic photos. They are in Miami, they are in Maldives, and right now they are now posting about financial bill. And that's when I realized, wow, my generation is actually waking up, and I will wake up with them.
Okay, so how do you gather intelligence? For example, let me ask this before I leave. Annette, if we still have Annette. Annette, how do you get to know what's happening and who to join in the street?
Okay, personally, I have an organization called Wagwan Nairobi. So we came together with a way of like gathering people, of which you can go to our Instagram, you text us, you tell us whether you want the t-shirts, the placards or anything. We have a group on WhatsApp. That's how we're gonna meet tomorrow for the Mandamano. Yeah.
So you share information across your WhatsApp?
Across WhatsApp, on TikTok, on my page, everything to do with like me as a content creator. I'll use it to like maximize the amount of people that are gonna show up. Yeah.
What does your parents say about this bill, Annette?
My mom knows. She knows I'm an activist at heart, and that's who my dad is generally. So I guess I took after him, and I'm so happy. I'm so proud of myself. Yeah.
So what do they say about the bill, the specific bill? Do they tell you, Annette,
specific bill.
Nikubaya, we can't afford your school fee for the next year because I guess you're going for your undergrad or something. We can't afford to send you for holiday. What are they saying about the bill, your parents?
Okay, personally, my parents are tired. They're millennials. So like, it's been happening.
Millennials, we haven't retired.
Not retired, they are tired.
Oh, they are tired.
Yeah, they
of
are
what's
tired.
Happening.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm the one who's taken it upon myself to go defend myself, because this is my future. So I have to just show up, and they're okay with it. Yeah.
They're okay with it?
Yeah.
Okay. And what does your parents say about the bill?
Okay. Well, my parent actually supports, yes, he supports the taxation, but what he does not support is the over-taxation. And he keeps encouraging me to come and talk about these things on air, to be aware of whatever is happening in terms of the country's finances and the country's politics. And in as much as I know about it, he encourages me to come and inform my peers so that they don't stay in the dark. We just don't end up scrolling on TikTok for years, and not for years, for hours in a day, and not realizing that tomorrow when we wake up to go and work, we might be promised a salary of 60,000, but it's going to come to us at 20,000 as 20,000. So he encourages me to learn and read about whatever is happening in the country, current affairs, politics, finances, and also educate my peers.
All right, thanks, Anne. Ray, your perspective, have your guardians and parents also spoken about this bill, and what are they saying about it?
Actually, I've not been able to be in touch with them about the bill particularly, but we have discussed on a number of issues in the country. But Ken, I must say that it must not be lost to the Gen Zs in the room tonight that some of these proposals that have been dropped in the finance bill, I mean, the government is keen on raising money, so there must be a catch-22 somewhere coming ahead. Like, for instance, Ken, the 39% increase in the road maintenance levy, I know you're privy to this information. There's a drop in the motor vehicle circulation tax that was proposed. A lot of Gen Zs don't own vehicles, but again, the kind of equipment and the kind of food we eat, the kind of products we use at home, they are all affected. They're in the chain of effects in the line of petrol, and when you increase the price of petrol, that then causes a ripple effect. We actually have had the discussion about food prices having come down, but I don't know if the government is taking undue credit. But generally, Ken, I think the Gen Zs might want to look a little bit deeper into this bill, and perhaps it is time for those Gen Zs who are in the professions of law, economics, mathematics, science to come in and talk about these things more openly, so that we can have and build a greater community of Gen Zs in terms of professionals and even those who are on the streets, because, I mean, not all can go on the streets, Ken.
For you, when was the realization that you need to grab your future right now? Because they say the youth are the future generation, but I think you are right now, you're the present. So at what point for you, Ray, did you have that realization?
I think it seems like we actually, something that Anne didn't say is that we actually share the segment What's Trending. And when we cover these things, every time there's a story trending, it either must be about the government, and it is an uprising we've seen for a very long time. We've been doing this show for what, around a year now, and we've seen the show coming into shape, and people actually talking about these things from the time Gen Zs started being active in terms of finance bill and matters budget and economy. So Ken, the realization really comes from interacting with this information online, as opposed to the usual conventional ways of interacting with experts. I think Gen Zs have been woke lately, and I'm part of that movement as well.
And finally, Ray, what is that one thing you're picking out of this bill that is of great concern to you, that must be, it's an imperative in your eyes?
I mean, Ken, most of those proposals that were worrying have been dropped. My concern is the proposals that are still remaining in that bill that are unclear. Like, a lot of them are very unclear, actually. There's not so much direction on some of the proposals. So as the bill is being tabled, my keen interest is on whether the lawmakers will be able to spot this and actually call them out, so that we don't have other things being sneaked into the bill. As you see, the attention a lot was on bread and the motor vehicle circulation tax, excise duty on mobile money services, alcohol. A lot of these things have been dropped now. But what is the devil in the detail that remains in this bill, Ken?
That's the concern.
Exactly, that is my concern.
Okay, let me bring back the discussion now here. And Natasha, I'd like you to put this in context. Finance Bill 2024, this is Mutahi Ngunyi. You guys know who Mutahi Ngunyi is? Yeah. Tyranny of numbers. You know? Of course. I saw you made a face when I said Mutahi Ngunyi. What's going on?
Please continue. Let the people know. Let it come from me.
Okay, but I saw you frown. So Mutahi is my friend, probably text me, says, Finance Bill 2024 has given birth to the Gen Z nation. This group has enough energy to power a locomotive. Bravo. But where are the rural Gen Zs? It's a good question. Where were the Kibera boys? I'll omit what he said there. You cannot do a revolution and stop at Java to pick a sandwich. This is posh politics, Natasha.
Wow.
What?
The ignorance. anyways, this is what I think, yes? And this is so unrelated to the finance bill, because the older generations I saw used to suffering is annoying at this point, because me stopping for a sandwich is what is bothering you, yet the finance bill is there. Anyways, Gen Zs are different. They are a different type of breed. They will live the way they want to do. They will not succumb to the way people want them to do things. Yeah, we will do them the way we feel is best to do it. If I want to stop for a sandwich and then go on marching, I will stop for a sandwich and go on marching. As long as I don't stop marching, that's the point. As long as the priority is still there, you know. Now, for you to believe that I want change, I should stay hungry the whole day. That is what you want to say.
Posh politics, because the rural Gen Zs are not on the street. That is what he's saying.
Okay, but then again, the MPs are getting paid so much, they cannot come work with us, yet we are the ones who appointed them there. Isn't that posh politics? They are there.
I like the word appointed them.
We did, though. We did.
It was an appointment.
Yes, we chose you. We told you are the best
candidate. Did you guys
candidate.
vote in the last election?
I did.
Oh, you all did in the last election.
Actually, thrice now.
You voted thrice?
I voted twice in 2017 and I voted...
Oh, twice. I was about to say, wrong man on the table tonight.
No, I've actually voted thrice.
Twice. So there was a repeat election for Uhuru Kenyatta that Raila Odinga boycotted. You voted in that. You voted in the regional one, and 2022.
Thinking I was voting for the youth. Wow.
So you are the problem.
I was part of it.
You're reclaiming that you want to touch on what Mutahi is saying, the fact that you guys stop. Now tomorrow you're planning to dance on the street.
Let's see what he says after that.
Because
I actually think the former generations are so much used to seeing people throw stones, to seeing people break into the Wahindi shops. They can't believe Hindi can open the shop and say, Kabugi ka hapa hadi wapite. You know,
that happened.
Yeah, that actually happened.
They don't believe that, you know, they're so much used to. The Gen Z have come with a new way of doing things. The older generations used to work extra hours just to keep their positions at work. The Gen Zs are not even working extra hours for money. We're only working extra hours because our bodies want to. So they can't believe we're doing that. They can't believe we know the rights that you can't just wake up in the morning and fire me. I know you have a procedure of firing me. You can't just fire me for not working extra hours. They are so much used to violence. Mutahi is so much used to seeing stones being thrown, you know, seeing tires being lit everywhere. We've come with a new way of peacefully walking.
Okay.
We've come with a new way of holding placards and talking to you.
Gikonyi, you said wow when I read that tweet. And you made a face when I mentioned what's going on.
Okay, first of all, I genuinely think that focusing this protest as a generational thing is a red herring. Because this entire time we have been saying Gen Z this, Gen Z that, and kind of trying to alienate Gen Zs from the rest of the country.
So we say you're the only ones
those
making
ones,
noise.
Those ones there, those ones there, whose language you don't understand, whose way of living we don't understand. I really do not get it, because we are on the streets for you guys too.
I know.
Someone says the government gave the Gen Z super rights over their parents. Now they are all on the loose, but this time hoping the parents are going to enjoy the fruits of the government.
Yes.
Yes.
Because I'm going to hop on Natasha's point.
Yeah.
People before us have treated suffering as a trophy, you know?
Yes.
Yay!
Yes.
And it's how there is. We can't even fault them, because we are taught to fast. We are taught to, like, you know, eye of the needle. You have to go through the eye of the needle. So suffering is such a major part of what they've been taught, and it simply boggles them that it makes no sense to us. Also, a little correction. No stopping at Java for coffee. People
are actually hiding.
It's not a problem.
People are actually hiding in
like,
Java from
it's
the
not a
from
deal.
the tear
Did
gas
you
and
guys,
everything.
I'm getting back to Mutai, but did you guys feel at one point that there was a serious affront against your peaceful protest?
Yes.
From the moment people got to town, because the posters, the placards that Boniface Mwangi put out said that, you know, dress in black. We are being targeted for dressing in black. Wewe umeenda tu town, shughuli zako, umeenda shule, umevaa black, juu ndivyo umezoea. We.
Yes, actually, you'll pinpointed.
By your shoulders and your pants. Kwa gari.
Very violent.
We are not used
personal
to
cars.
this. Yeah, handle us with care, please.
Tomorrow.
And the fact that nobody is actually doing anything harmful or actually doing any type of vandalism,
Yeah.
it
It's
was
actually
even
legal
awesome.
because it was a peaceful
Because
protest.
it was a peaceful protest.
Yes.
No arms
And
were
businesses
thrown,
also
no
saw
stones
that
were
it was
thrown.
peaceful. That's why.
So, Jabali, I assume you haven't told me that you don't work.
Yes.
There's a question here from Ezekiel Baba Chelsea. I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
There's a question. Who imposed tax on you and yet you're not employed? I think you should focus on education first, not unless you're looking for fame on
Yes.
social media.
You know, that's honestly... That,
I don't know if you know him. I don't know who that is.
How old is Baba Chelsea? You need to know
Baba
that.
Chelsea. You
Yes.
guys are crazy.
He's a dad, honestly.
He's a dad.
Yes, and it's quite sad and ironical that Baba Chelsea can actually afford to speak that way, considering he's considering Chelsea is growing up. And if you actually see this bill won't actually affect only those people who are working. It trickles down to everyone. It trickles down to even the unemployed, even the children and everyone, you know. When my parents are having trouble somewhere, getting me bread in the end of the day, getting me my fees and everything, it actually trickles down to me. So when I go out there to the streets to protest, it's because I'm fighting not only for my rights, for my young siblings' rights, and for also my parents' rights, you see. So yeah.
Forget, we are paying 300 bob. If you're 25 years and above and you're not employed,
You will be paid some.
the finance bill will treat you like a different household, like you
Yes.
don't eat in that house. It's crazy.
Yes.
Exactly. Because why are you treating being in this country like a subscription?
I
To be here.
Oh my
Usually.
God. Like, let's put it in a
An
bag and let's
expensive
sell
one,
it at this point.
an expensive one, then.
Nilipia Showmax, Netflix, and let me check the list. Showmax,
Spotify.
Netflix, Spotify, and living in Kenya.
Yeah. How is that?
I think just thinking of what's going to happen tomorrow releases some dopamine in you people.
Yeah, true.
Not true.
Honestly, me, I'm scared. Personally, I'm
genuinely
scared. I am genuinely scared because Kenyan police don't care. They will carry you by your boots and throw you in the cell. But then again, it is for a good cause.
Yes.
And as much as it is very, you'll get the adrenaline rush, you know, the tear gas, you'll go through it and you'll come tell stories. But as long as at the end of the day, the government notices what we're doing and they make changes, you know,
it is worth it in the end of the day.
At the end of the day, it will be worth it.
It's very worth it.
And also the new thing is that, you know, they're not used to having people, a mob go to the central police station and shout we want the OCS.
Yeah.
They just
Those are
used to-
lawyers.
Yeah.
Probably my
They're just
my
used to
generation.
people holding
Yes.
back. Boniface is in prison. Okay. Right now, if anyone is arrested, we have groups. We have numbers that we are sending money.
Who are actually coming, advocates who are actually coming forward and volunteering to actually help them out and bring them. So it's actually commendable.
So you've been arrested tomorrow, in the evening you're out with our money. We don't need anyone to, you know.
Very interesting. Veronica, your take on that tweet, and there's another one that I needed to have asked you. The fact that there was still a decision that you go back to, or you go to the streets in spite of the government reviewing or revising some of those amendments. And further, before tomorrow's protest, Parliament has already been notified that about 200 billion shillings will have to be removed from the finance bill. Does this still make sense to you?
Well, until they amend, actually, the hashtag that's going on is reject finance bill. And as much as they do want to amend it, I don't think my generation will rest until it's totally done away with. But they have to amend it appropriately and remove all those extra things that they are putting on there just to oppress people who are out here trying to earn a living. And especially my generation has just joined adulting. Like, be kind on us. So yeah, it doesn't, we are still, people are still going to go out tomorrow. They are going to come out in bigger masses, especially now that they saw the Wednesday one worked. So let's hope and see that they are going to follow whatever these protesters are going to be saying. Especially, I'm going to be one of them tomorrow.
I will not give you off. And you're not allowed to protest. I'll not give you off anyway. That's a joke. But seriously, I need to release Annette. Annette, to your generation, your word to this group that is essentially in school. I'm glad you're doing something for yourself, and that really makes me proud as your father. But to your generation, what do you want to tell them?
Okay, so on my end, as you just said, my generation, I think everyone is awake now. I think everyone knows what we are on. I think everyone knows that we are suffering collectively, not just the ones who are like paying tax. As you had said, someone asked why we're out here being loud and we're not the ones that are being taxed. Hey, kuna VAT, kuna so many things. We've been taxed from the day we were born. So like we know that this time around we have to come and like represent ourselves. So yeah.
Okay, Annette. Raymond, you're still here with us. I need you to explain to me your thinking of the success of what you're doing. What is the thinking? Because at the end of the day, we started from a point that we said the government will still have to make the decision, the hard decision on your behalf. So you're thinking of the end game to what you're doing, Ray.
I think, Ken, the first thing is that none of the Kenyans will be in Parliament. It will be the members of Parliament who will be there to make that particular vote. And I think the most pressing issue is that when a member of Parliament takes the podium and says for sure that we need to raise money and we will tax you guys whether you like it or not, I think it's very sad, and I think that is one of the many things that has angered Gen Zs, and they are always on TikTok because we're in the digital department and we see a lot of these comments, even on the videos we post and the content we do, and I think the basis of this particular uprising is the fact that people have been able to see politics at first hand. And Ken, we should also remember that the people who are protesting right now are not protesting on behalf of the Gen Zs alone, but also on behalf of the people who cannot make it to the streets, but the people who are salaried Kenyans, the people who will be taxed heavily in terms of pay, in terms of the VAT on goods. In fact, Ken, there was in the proposals that are latest, there's an increase in, I think, IDF by 5%. And you see that, again, negates the gains that have been made in the many other proposals that have been dropped. And so if you look at it collectively, I think the basis of this whole issue is, I think there's a lot of anger. And it has been like that for a while until we decided well, at least because I'm Gen Z, but I've not been in the protests, Ken. I also not participated.
Permission denied beforehand.
But I think
Raymond Mude did a very nice story of taxing the skies. This is about the taxes that were imposed on aircrafts. Raymond, you've seen through the bill because you work here. Is this tax, is it being retained?
Well, is that the tax on the aircraft parts and maintenance?
Yes.
Well, there was a proposal. Actually, Ken, some background to this is that when I was doing the story, there was a loss of 2 billion in terms of the principal imports for this particular parts because of the tax that was introduced. But then when we checked again in the economic survey of 2024, the one that was released just recently, that should be 2024, yeah. And there was an increase in 10 billion after the drop of that tax. So you can see, Ken, this, whatever the Gen Zs are chasing is not something that is actually hard to understand. These are things that are visible and tangible. That's 5 times increase in terms of the industry, and 10 billion is not a mean figure, Ken. When the
the county can fund a county or two.
Sorry?
It can fund a county, so it's not small money.
Absolutely. And so when you, I think in this year's finance bill, they have decided to return that particular bit. So we wait to see what the numbers will look like. But Ken, really, I mean, 5 times an increase, but just by dropping one tax, should tell you a lot about why the Gen Zs are on the streets right now.
Exactly. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to bring your attention to something that could have escaped your attention. Today in Parliament, the debate, did you guys watch the debate?
No.
You're not interested in these people?
No.
You didn't, you're
Well,
not interested in the
I
debate?
just watched Millie.
The snippets?
Yes, snippets, yes.
Yes. So one of the things that happened today is the direction, the general direction that has been taken in Parliament is based on party affiliation. So that in spite of you calling, texting, WhatsApping, making TikTok videos, and speaking loudly, the members of Parliament today are still divided along party lines. Yesterday, there was a Kenya Kwanza Parliamentary group meeting. That is where the changes in the finance bill was announced. If you look at the debate today in Parliament, the way they supported or rejected the bill is still based along the party lines. In spite, now this is the point of what may escape your mind, in spite of the fact that there are amendments, long before today, before yesterday, Kenya Kwanza had said, we are passing as is. The president even said one time, fanyeni haraka mpitishe wa Kenya wapate huduma, right? The mind was made. Allies to Azimio are voting against the bill, regardless of these concessions that have been made, that today we've also found out that it's the concessions a little bit of PR, right? Because there's still a lot that is hidden, the devil in the details. So my point is this, what are your feelings, general feelings, about the fact that this decision that is being passed, is being shown in Parliament today, was made long before the amendments were introduced yesterday? Let me begin with Natasha. Like, they had made their decisions long before this amendment. What are your general feelings
This
about
just
that?
proves our country to be more of a dictatorial government than a democratic one. Because in a way, you are supposed to be voting either to pass or reject a bill, and you had made up your mind. This is going to pass. It's like a game. You're moving Kenyans as puppets like this. It's not good. It's not right even. And the fact that you guys are, this is to the MPs. The fact that you guys are voting against or for this bill in parties, like, oh, because my party is saying this, I will do this. Because my party is saying this, I will do this. It's giving tribalism. It's giving, I'll pick a side because, no, do it right by the people. Make sure that the people in your constituency are not going to suffer because of this bill. And that is what is annoying me so much, because they do not think about the people. What is in their minds is themselves and what they are going to cash out of it. And that is so annoying.
Okay.
And yes.
The decision, Kabugi, was made long before the amendments. It's PR, whatever way you look at it. I will touch on classes. I could touch on classes, but I will not because of the sake of time. But the fact from where you're sitting, the mind was made. Kenya Kwanza said, regardless, before the amendment. So don't, I almost said, don't tell us. But the truth is, they said we will vote for it. The amendments had not been done. So even if they're voting for it now with the amendment, their mind was made.
It was made, yeah.
As Emil said, we will vote against it.
Yeah.
So regardless, so this hardline that is being taken right now, what does it show from where you sit as someone who is fighting for their rights?
Ken, 1, we texted you. 2, we called you. And 3, we sent you money.
What do you mean you send the money?
The whole protest is not only with 168. Okay.
Or people who are trying to find out if it's...
Please get my number and send me something because I need to get some tax. Yeah. The whole idea about the protest is not only about the finance bill. It's for me to notify my Nakuru East MP, I see what you're doing. 2027 is coming. The whole idea about me going live during a protest is not just rejecting the finance bill. It's to tell people from Mbere North, your MP wants us to be charged 100K for just protesting and wanting you to get more information about the finance bill. So however much we really praying that it doesn't get passed. Mm-hmm. We know the
but the government has to work. The government has to work. If you, I had a very good argument. Sorry for stopping you. Otiende Amolo today reasoned and said even the 2023 was delayed. 2022 continued. So the analogy, and Otiende is a senior. I'm a lawyer and he's a senior. Yeah. So he says the analogy that the government has to function, so this bill has to be passed, today was trashed in Parliament, using examples. So sorry for stopping you.
Back to it, Ken. Mm-hmm. The whole idea is not only to fight the finance bill. The whole idea is not only that we know they have numbers. We know I won't be able to turn my MP, turn your MP, but I hope my MP is seen. Kabugi's on TV. Yeah. Kabugi has told me he saw what I did.
Don't vote
next week on Thursday. Mm-hmm. You go vote. Yes, I have you in 2027. I'm waiting for you on the ballot. Yeah.
Recall. For MPs, it's a recall. Yeah. They can be recalled. Yeah. But you guys know how members of parliament have fortified their recall? You can only recall them after 2 years and almost a half. And the whole process of recalling an MP takes almost a year. And the clause also states that when they're remaining with a certain period, you cannot recall them.
And this is why
effectively you cannot.
The constitution needs to be amended. It
Did you guys even know
changed.
That?
A lot of things are just very dictatorial. Like, they're just holding you like this. They just don't want you to do better, as a country.
That is a subtle threat, 2027, but in 2027, there'll be 3 more budgets by 2027. And the president has said that he intends to increase the ratio to the GDP from 14 to 22% by the year. Was it the next 6 years or 10 years? Whatever, but in 10 years, he intends to have increased it from 14 or from 16 to 22% to the GDP, right? Your point, recall has been made impossible. Yes. The members of parliament, because they make the law, the statutes are theirs. So they ensured you cannot start a recalling process before they work a little bit. So 2 years and a half, I think, if I'm not wrong. Then after 2 years and a half, you can only start the process almost for a year. It will take a year. After 1 year, there's a clause that now says that when they're remaining with this period, you cannot recall them. So essentially, you cannot recall an MP. So what happens? What is the recourse?
That's basically a dictatorial government or a dictatorial move, because you see, like, you're actually forcing us to go with. We chose you. You lied to us. For you to actually get there, you had to lie to us, because right now we aren't happy with whatever stance they're taking. Most of them. My Thika MP also came out and said that she will pass the bill. She's working under Ruto and she is for Ruto, and he is her boss and she'll pass it. That feels like she isn't really listening to the people who actually put her there. She isn't really listening to the
That was apparent in Parliament today. And tomorrow the debate continues.
Yes.
It's divided along party line.
And the thing is
supporting.
Yes, and the thing is they'll do that. That will say.
Were you guys alive to that fact? That they could actually ignore you?
Yeah, we actually know that. We actually know that, and we are very aware. But the thing is, not to ambia, and we'll say it once again, 2027 is coming. As much as you're doing this, okay, 2027 is coming, and you're very ready, and we are seeing everything that is happening. We can't recall you. You have trapped us in a system that we can't recall you. But 2027 is coming. It's not so far. We are now 3.5 years away. Is it 3 or 2 somewhere there?
Yeah, 2.5.
But it is actually coming.
Now you can begin a recall.
Yes.
But by the time you're done with it, they're remaining with a few months. Yes.
But the thing is, they'll not come back. We'll actually be very ready for
You'll be voting for the first or second time?
Yes, or for the second time.
For the second time.
Second time.
Injury.
So you are right.
when people were texting MPs and actually putting their responses online, there's one who said, point blank, yes, I know you voted for me, but me, I don't work for you, and I don't know why you'd think that.
Wow.
Which is just yes, there's someone who replied like that.
Rudely.
There's people who are replying rudely and so on and so forth. So yes, we are alive to the fact that we might be ignored. We are alive to the fact that this whole protest might, in the long run, not go anywhere, and the bill might be passed, because after all, the systems that are in place are systems that are archaic and old to us. Because what do you mean you're voting in party lines in 2024? I understand that that's how things have been set up, but his point, what he said, the point of this, a revolution will start, a flood will start with a raindrop. This is the raindrop. Regardless of how they vote the finance bill, the Gen Zs have woken up. And not only Gen Z, everyone who is behind us has woken up and is alive to what is happening to the country right now. Because, to be very honest, most people just sleepwalk through the country. Unasema, I don't watch news, it's depressing. Right now, you cannot miss.
In fact, someone is saying,
cannot miss news.
I saw a video of a lady, I can't remember her name, I watch TikTok. So this lady did a video indicating that if she has now, in 2027, she will be really keen. If you saw that video, this lady who does videos in a place that looks like a studio, like a club. So she did a video near the screen with the results from 2022. Yes, and then saying she's studied now. So have you people now realized that you can't just stay home and say we'll not vote?
That's the thing too. That's the thing. Now that, you know, the last election, there were more than, what percentage of the voters that did Gen Z make? 40-something%. And they just didn't show up because the only way people knew how to vote was along political lines. And even in 2022, the political lines were really vague, okay? So we didn't know. So right now, that 8 million plus people have suddenly woken up like sleeper agents, and we know that we have to go to the ballot box. So regardless of what happens this finance bill, there's always next year.
Okay.
And there's always the year after that.
Okay.
We are going to go to the streets if we have to.
Okay. All right. I want to do a story, what happened in Parliament. Then I'll play the video of the week. Then we will all comment on the video of the week. Then we can close this, all right? Yes. All right. So the harsh exchange of